Christmas. Yeah, that was me. This morning, we're doing some deliveries of Christmas hampers that my leadership class at the high school I work at. We raised a bunch of money this fall and some different challenges and events and things around the school, and we raised close to $1,500. And we put together some hampers for some needy families in our city, and we went out and handed them out, and I dressed up like good old Kris Kringle. And wow, a lot of kids were so happy. They were telling me all about their life, and one little boy was so funny. I try to be good, I really do, but last week I was bad, but now I'm being good, and it was hilarious. But there's a lot of families out there who simply don't have much at all. And as tough as life gets sometimes for some of us, there are people around us who need a lot more. And so it was really good for my students to see that. We live in the, or we don't live in the, but I teach at a school that's in the kind of the wealthier quadrant of the city. And so a lot of them don't understand that some parents have to choose between food and gifts at Christmas. That's just not a concept they're familiar with. But instead of letting them just live in ignorance on that, we go out and we find families and we support them as best we can. So really good time was had by all. And when I got back to the school, there's a basketball tournament going on, so I went out and I was there right at the start of one of the games, and I did a ceremonial toss for a jump ball. that was a lot of fun. Poor kids in the crowd though. Santa, it was it's like, yeah, gotta go back to the North Pole, but it was a good time. But on now to the big debate: who will win? For my last video that I put out, I asked you to weigh in. To chime in, if you will, with your thoughts as to who will win in this battle. And I've gotten a number of good responses. And this is my first time doing this, and I learned something right off the bat. Some people were giving answers based on just roll the dice and see what happens. And other people were saying, well, if Germany wants to hold the territory, they'll have to lose these aircraft possibly, so they'll be left with a tank. And other people are just saying, no, they'll be left with a bomber and a couple of fighters, but then they can't take the territory. So in this, we just asked who will win. We didn't say who will own the territory per se. And who knows, Germany may lose. So we'll see how this goes here. We have our 8 infantry, 4 artillery, 5 tanks, 3 fighters, and a bomber, for a grand total of 21 units. And over here we have 17 infantry, 2 artillery, 2 tanks, and a fighter, for a grand total of 22 units. But obviously they're not punching quite as hard overall. But if you remember from my last video, it was about a 51% chance to about a 47% chance, with a couple percent that it could end up in a draw, mutual destruction. But we're going to roll it out now and we'll see. And if this goes well, if the response is good for this, I'm looking at doing more sweeping games and maybe more sweeping challenges, pardon me. And maybe the next one I'll do is naval, maybe, or maybe a naval battle followed by an amphibious assault. We'll see what happens. And in this one here, we're not using AA guns or anything, so we're keeping it pretty simple. So we'll start with the attackers, and I'm not using my battle board here. Hopefully that's okay for everybody. You know what? I'll be right back. Alright, I told you I'd be right back. So what I've done is I've just gotten some dice here to show you the different columns, and these are all the same, so we can actually push these a little closer here. Let's go. Oh, it's hard to do when you can't see. Alright, so there we go. So you have your columns here. You got your 1, 2s, 3s, and 4s. Alright, so the Germans have 4 in the 1 column. And I'm going to be using my hit dice. And every time I use my hit dice, somebody says, hey, where'd you get the neat hit dice? And I got them at a place up in Mission, BC, just across the Fraser River from me. It's called Warcraft Games. It's a great place. Tell them, or ask for Will. He'll set you up. And basically I just chose a design that I really liked, and my wife ended up painting these ones because the white doesn't show up well, but on the twos, on the other dice, it shows up pretty well. But there's so many other hit dice out there. I know Young Grasshopper has his. You can buy those off of HBG. I really am preferring hit dice to regular dice. I'm looking for somebody to make D12 so I can play my 1939 games. So, all right, so here we go. We have the roll for the ones, the German infantry. Oh, and they got one hit. So we will send one fellow back here as a casualty. And then we have 8 at 2. So my blue dice are my 2s. We got 8 of those. And we got 3 hits. Oh, they're punching a little harder. So that's 4 hits. So we're just going to take those 3. So that's 4 total. And I have a feeling we're going to be moving these red chips, so we'll push the other guys back. And then we have 5 tanks and 3 fighters, so we have 8 green dice. Those are my 3s. Whoa, that's 6 hits. 6 hits. Okay. So that's 5. And then I'm going to make some change. So 6, I had 4, so that's 10 hits now. So all those guys go back. So that's 10 hits. And then, of course, the bomber. And the bomber gets a hit. All right. So we got 11 hits on the Russians. That's pretty good. I think that's a little higher than it should be. But we'll see. See how the Russians respond. So we know that we have 17 infantry and 2 artillery, so that's 19 at 2. So I think what we'll do, for ease of everything here, we'll do 2 rounds of 9, or 1 round of 9, 1 round of 10. Okay, so here we go. Here's the first round of 9. Ooh, 5 hits. So that's 5. And then, so we'll move all these guys, they're gone. And we'll get rid of 1 more chip. Okay, so that's 5 hits there. Keep these guys here for posterity. And then we have a roll of 10. And that's all the dice that are in here now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Alright. See if we can get 5 more for the Ruskies. Oh, close. We got 4. Alright, so we got 4 more. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now, because we have just 3 dice left, we can do these at the same time. So we have 2 3s with the tanks, and a 4 for the defending fighter, and 2 more hits. So 1, 2, there we go. Alright, so what the battlefield looks like now, after 1 round, is we have 1 artillery, and we have 8 at 3 and 1 at 4. So 8, so we've got 10 units on the German side. And on the Russian side, we have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. But again, Germans are punching a little harder here. So looking like a German victory, but this is why we roll the dice. So we'll have 1, 2 with the artillery, and then the rest will be the tanks and the planes. And we can throw the bomber in there. So this is the entire German roll here. This is all they have left, all 10 dice. Okay, here we go. Oh, wow. Well, they got 5 hits. Pretty much to be expected. So there we go. 5 out of 10. I don't think the Ruskies are going to punch so hard. But the Russians have 5, 6, 7, 8 at 2. Get those out of there. So we've got 6, 7, 8 at 2, 2 at 3, and 1 at 4. We're going to roll all of them at the same time here. They need to get at least 5 hits here to keep pace. We'll see what happens. Well, they got 4. Their fighter missed. So they got 4 hits. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright. That's gone. Well, I guess if we're doing the German dead, we can put the Russian dead there. Alright. Here we go. So now the Germans are down to 2 tanks and 3 planes. So that's 5 and 1 black for the bomber. So they could wipe out the Russians in this roll if they get all hits. Oh, that's weak. That's weak. 2 hits. Take those 2 guys, just put them in the back there. And that's not good. So now we have 1, 2, 3 at 2, 2 at 3, 1 at 4. All right, I think this is the opportunity the Russians need to take here. If they don't take it here, I think it's probably curtains for them. So let's see what they do. Well, they got 3. That's better than a kick in the butt with a frozen muckluck, as we say. So there's 1, 2, 3. And the Russians only lost 2 that round. So the Russians are ahead now, all of a sudden. They're ahead by a single 2. Let's see here. This is the Germans. 2 attacking fighters and 1 attacking bomber. Oh, there's the German war machine we all know and love. 3 hits. Let us see if the Russians can reply in kind. So this is all the Russian units now. 1 artillery, 2 tanks, and a fighter. Oh, got 2 hits. There goes those. That's a 4 on 4. Wow. All right. So here goes the German bomber. Swing and a miss. Let's see if the Russian fighter can do anything. Boom! So the Russians have successfully defended. We have 1 fighter remaining. That is our last unit in this big conflagration that we just had. So there you have it, folks. That's that battle. That was the first shot at this. So what I'm going to do right now, actually, this video is going to go on longer because I'm going to set up a naval battle followed by an amphibious assault. And maybe we'll throw an AA gun in there. We'll see. And what we'll do is we will assume that the attacker is trying to take and hold the territory as strongly as possible, with as many land units as possible, and we'll see what happens. Geographically, let's say that this is the we'll make it the British are landing in France, and they are trying to stay. Okay, so that's what the situation is going to be, is the UK turn in Global 40, and they're landing on the coast that of France. Actually, let's make it anniversary, because that's the one I got laid out here right now. So we'll go with anniversary, and it's just there's going to be a small naval presence for the Germans. The British will come in, and remember, anything, if there's a naval battle, then if there's a battleship or a cruiser, can't bombard if there's a naval battle. And we will assume that the Germans will fight. They're going to fight. So, and because this isn't G40, we don't have to worry about scramble rules or anything like that. It's just anniversary. All right, well, thanks for watching this part, and we're going to set up the next one. We'll see you in just a moment. All right, here we go. We've got our sea battle to be followed by a land battle. Got to work on the land unit numbers just to make sure it's closer. Now, this naval battle looks like it's going to be about 80% chance to win for the Brits, which is what it's supposed to be because they're trying their invasion. We want to make sure it works. So at this time, they have 6 loaded transports. They've got 6 infantry and 3 artillery and 3 tanks, and then a whole whack of planes, versus a good amount of units here with an AA gun. But we're going to do the naval battle first, and then we may have to tweak the numbers of ground and air units here. I think it's looking like a pretty decisive British victory, but we'll see what the computer says after we do our sea battle. So to start the sea battle, of course, you have Anniversary Edition. The aircraft carrier is a 1. We have 3 destroyers, which take out the sneak attack from them, from the U-boats. We've got the 3, and of course the 4 for the King George the Fifth. Here we go. 4 hits. So of course we do the tip. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so those 3 subs are going to be gone. Subs don't defend well in Anniversary, of course, and they don't really defend well in any of the games. So we have 5 of them. And the Battleship. So what kind of damage they can do? Well, 1 sub got a hit, so we got 2 hits. Of course, we're going to tip and tip because all those aircraft can land back at home. Alright, so the German U-boat fleet is knocked down 60%. And here we go. We have the carrier. We've got 3 destroyers, cruiser, and a battleship. And in some iterations, you know, once it's tipped, it can't collect planes or battle anymore. But in Anniversary, it still shoots. And in some versions, tipped battleships battle worse. Maybe at a 2 or a 3. But again, Anniversary, so we're just going to have some fun. So we got 1, 2, 3 more hits, and that'll do it. Okay, so we're going to end up with a 4 and 2 1s for the Germans. Let's see if they can inflict some more damage here. 4 and 2 1s. Here we go. Well, they got 1 more hit, and of course then the British will lose a destroyer. So that landing is going to happen. We just have to figure out what's going to happen. We'll be right back after we make sure the numbers are fairly good. I think this is a little heavy to the Brits, but we'll see. Alright, yeah, the RAF was way too powerful, so I had to peel it back by a few planes here. 2 bombers and a fighter are gone. And so we're down to this, and it's about a 51 and change % chance to win for the Brits, and about a 47% chance to win for the Germans. Alright, so that's what we got here. So we got the AA gun, and we have 8 men, 3 artillery, 4 tanks, and 2 fighters defending against 6 infantry, 3 artillery, 3 tanks, 5 fighters, and 1 bomber. Alright, so here we go. We're going to line this up here. We got to start with the good old AA gun, which in Anniversary, the AA guns don't get destroyed. They just stick around. They're just permanent fixtures. So can't take it as a casualty, but it sure can dish it out sometimes. So I'm going to do the 5 dice against the fighters. Well, we got 1. So the Brits are down to 4. And then we have 1 against the bomber. And no hit. I think that probably would have sunk their fortunes. Alright, so now they're down to 4. I think just for curiosity's sake, we're going to minus 1 off there and see what happens. They go from 51.82% down to, oh, they've only got a 33% chance to win now. Well, let's see if the Brits can get a victory out of this anyway. It's amazing how much 1 unit can change things too. I added 1 German infantry to this mess, and it instantly drove it up to like 75%. So, who knows, maybe these free battle calculators are no good, but we'll find out in just a moment. So we have our 3 British infantry unescorted by artillery. We've got the 3 with the artillery. We've got the artillery itself. That's about all I can fit into my hand here. So here we go. So this is all the men and the artillery for the Brits landing on the coast of France. Alright, 3 hits. That's pretty good. And you can't take A, of course. We'll just move them off to the side. So 1, 2, 3 hits. Alright, and now we have 3 tanks and 4 fighters, not 5. So 3 and 4, that's 7. So we've got 7 hit dice here. So 3 or 4 hits would be pretty standard. And we got 2. Uh-oh, that's not good. So 1, 2, so that's 5 hits total. And of course the bomber. Oh, and the bomber missed. Okay, well this might be a short-lived invasion here. We'll see what happens. So we have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 twos. So that's all but one of my dice. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. Let's see what happens. 3 hits. That's about right. So these 3 folks go join the fighter over there. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4 tanks and 2 fighters. So 4 tanks, that's 4 green and 2 fighters. Oh, I only brought 1 black die with me. Alright, well that's okay, we'll just roll it twice. Ooh, the black die missed there, but it got a hit there. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 hits on the Brits. So there goes 1, 2, 3, and 4. Alright. And I don't think the battle calculator takes into account that we're going to need a tank at the end of all this. So we'll see what happens. Alright. So the British don't have to worry about getting white dice anymore, thanks to the Germans. So they have 2 blue dice and 7 green dice and 1 black die. Here we go. Got 10 units. That looks pretty healthy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hits. So that's going to take care of all the men and all the artillery for the Germans. So that tells us that they have 6 blue, they have 4 green, and a black. So they had 11 units, whereas the British had 10, but the German units are better, and they don't have to worry about losing a bomber. So, well, 4 hits for the Germans. Probably wanted a bit more than that. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so 1 tank left. And all this stuff is gone for the Germans. Off they go. Bring these folks a little closer. Let's get up close and personal. Alright, so now what we have 5 3s and a 4 versus 4 3s and 2 4s. So we're just 1 pip difference. So the Brits have actually done all right for themselves, all things considered. If they had had that extra fighter, I think it might have been an easier victory. But let's see what happens here. So we have 5 3s and 1 4. And we got 2 hits. 1, 2. And the Germans, sensing a possibility here, have 4 and then 2. So I'll have to roll that black die twice. It hit twice, so that's 4 hits. That's all the fighters. And I think that might be it. And I think I may have actually forgotten to roll the black die twice for them last round. So, but we'll see what happens here. So we've got a green and a black for the Brits. 1 hit. That's probably not going to be enough. Then we got 2 greens and 2 blacks. Ooh, 1 hit. Oh, they need this. And they got it. So that's it for the Brits. And as it stands, didn't really matter much that if I did miss it last time. And the Germans held on with 2 fighters and a tank left over. I guess that AA gun, that single hit at the beginning, really changed things for the Brits. Well, there you go, folks. So that's a new little segment I'd like to try out here on the Hilltop Pillbox. Give me your thoughts below, any other ideas you may have. Again, I'm just shooting from the hip on this one. We've often set up little battles and done this, but I thought it'd be neat to try it out and make it a contest on the channel, not just having fun with it, but maybe see if we can give out some prizes or something like that. So you let me know what you think. Let me know what the viability of this is. Maybe some ideas for rules and things. Knowing I won't be able to implement everything everybody wants, but I think the setup we have here is fine. I might maybe make up some nicer charts for us to roll on, and we'll see what we see. All right. Well, thanks so much for watching, folks. We're right close to Christmas here, and whether or not you celebrate Christmas, I'm sure you know it's a special time for many people, and maybe you have a different celebration at this time. I don't know all of them, so I'm just going to mention the one I do, which is Christmas. But I hope you have just a fantastic time with your family and your friends, and that as always, folks, really hug your loved ones. My son's coming back from university for about a week here, and that's going to be great to see him again. And my mother-in-law, my brother-in-law are coming out to visit as well, so it'll be great to see them. It's a real treat. So looking forward to that. Take time to just talk to people who mean a lot to you. Let them know that they're important to you. And if we don't see you before 2020, as we always say here at the Hilltop Pillbox, may the dice be with you.